Hey everyone, this is going to be an updated planner and journal lineup for 2023. I basically have one planner and one journal. This is not how I intended to start the year. Nonetheless, this is how it is going, and I'll get into why. For my planner, I'm using the Hobonichi Weeks. This one is actually the Mega. This is not the planner I had started out with. I had originally purchased this one, which is the regular Hobonichi Weeks. And I think it was around December, I realized that we're probably gonna go through some major family changes in 2023. So in December, I decided that I would like the Mega to have all of these extra notes pages because I am anticipating using them. Even though I'm not using them yet, I still wanted to have them just in case, just to know that the space was there available to me should I need it. So I'm not using the bunnies. And as you can tell, this is not any sort of cover that Hobonichi had offered. This is actually the bright green one. I think it was called Spring Green, but when I got it, it was very garish to me. And I decided pretty quickly that I was gonna cover it in fabric. This was just an old curtain that I happen to have, and I glued it down using PVA Bookbinding Glue. And I'm gonna chalk this up to beginner's luck because it turned out so well. And I had never done anything like this before. And I can pretty much guarantee if I attempted to do this again, it would go badly. Like, I don't think I could replicate this success. But I really, really took my time. I didn't watch any tutorials. I just went at it, which is what I tend to do. But, you know, I was very meticulous when I was trying to get the pleated corners. And then I used an awl that I had to kind of shove the fabric down into this spine opening right there. Because I wanted it to look good from the inside as well. So I'm very, very happy with how this ended up turning out. I really wanted a floral. I love this particular pattern, so I'm glad I could incorporate it. And then I just put some scrapbook paper that I had just to cover up the edges of the fabric once I flipped them over onto the inside. And I think it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna go into a ton of detail about how I'm using the weeks. I'll give you the bare bones overview. I will most likely do a separate video getting into all the nitty gritty details of this, but I've been using the weeks for like 6 years, but this will be the 3rd year that I'm using it the entire year exclusively as my only planner. I guess it's just, I don't know, planner piece or whatever it is. I just am so content in this planner and I really don't need anything else. So I've got 3 tabs up at the top. These are the Midori index clips that are well loved in this community and for very good reason. But the first tab takes me to the current month. And I basically use the monthly overview for anything scheduled, appointments, activities, those kinds of things. If I have to be anywhere at a specific time or bring somebody somewhere, it's on here and just keeps my head on straight. So the second tab goes to the current weekly, and I basically migrate all of the scheduled or appointment times from the monthly into the current weekly. And everything else are just tasks, whether they're repetitive daily tasks or random tasks that I just need to fill in at some point during the week. And, you know, I decorate and just do whatever I want, whatever I feel like. Each week can be slightly different. I actually was anticipating not decorating as much in here. And what happened was once I simplified and just went to one planner and one journal, I had more time to invest in both of these to be creative. So when I have downtime, I'm not trying to work in like 3 other setups. I can put all that focus into just these 2. Therefore, my spreads are much more decorated than I thought they would ever be. So I have a lot of markers and things that I'm using. These are Crayola Supertips. Anything with color in here is most likely a Crayola Supertip. Mine are so rotten. I've had them for like 5 years. I bought them in 2018 and I actually gave them to my kids, but they're always out. And so I've just been randomly pulling those out and using them in here just because they're so available to me. So I love that. I love that I'm using that up. And I'm also using them in here. So, oh, and then the last tab goes to the notes section. It goes to the next available notes page, but I'm not going to show anything in there because it is so personal and it has so much identifying information in it. There's just no way I can censor all that out. But I don't know if you can kind of tell through the page, but it's nothing but writing. It's very, very messy. I generally use the notes section to take messy notes, mostly when I'm on phone calls, trying to schedule things or just people are calling me about stuff. And I just, on the fly, am writing in there. I don't care about staying in the lines. It's just to get the information down. I call it my information landfill because that's pretty much what it looks like. But since I have so many pages back here, I cut off a section for more neatly written master lists that I can refer to. I won't go through all of them, but like this is a declutter list. So it's all the areas in my house that I want to start working through to, you know, move donations out of our spaces. So like every week I will kind of pick an area and I'll cross it off once I get that thing decluttered. So I have a few more neatly written lists like that in this like middle section of the notes. I'm working on tracking some fuel spending and grocery spending. Sorry about this tangent, but I am on a no buy like everybody else, right? But February's done now, and that was a full no spend month for me as far as stationery and just my hobbies. And I was really successful with that. And it's just motivated me to really get into finances, being frugal, saving, and just evaluating like what a chain it feels like to be spending all the time and wanting the next thing all the time. And anyway, I'm just going to talk about that more probably in like future videos. So yeah, so I'm gonna start out with tracking some things. This last part I have sectioned off is like the third part of the notes section, and I haven't even used it yet. I have a sticker here that's got like a 24-hour timeline on it. I don't even know when I'm gonna be using that, and when I do, I'll finally talk about it. But yeah, so that's the gist of my weeks. I've been using it the same way for the last few years, and I just love it. Every time I look at a different planner, like whatever's up and coming and everything, I always come back to this because it has everything I need. And it's usually I can find a good dupe, but it doesn't have any notes pages or nothing of substance. And that's always the deal breaker for me is, well, I don't have all this space to write. So there you go. This is my current journal. And the cover, this is a paper that lines the tray at Culver's, if you've ever been there. It's my favorite fast food restaurant. And the last time we went, the paper was still pristine after we got our food. So I decided I'm just gonna make a cover out of it and cover this notebook, which is kind of a theme. I've been decorating in my journal with like ephemera that I've collected from my life. And I just think that's so appropriate because this whole thing, my whole reason for journaling is to preserve and, you know, reflect upon my life. And all of the ephemera stickers and all like the fun journaling and decorative bits that I have, I use in my planner, which I think is odd. It's like I've completely reversed what I initially, how I initially thought I was going to use everything, but whatever. So this is some random notebook that I had in my stash, and I never wanted to use it because it got water damaged at some point. Like, it was warped and kind of stained, and I was being all bougie about it. Like, oh, I don't want to use it. It's all gross and everything. And I'm so over that attitude. And I am fully invested in using all of the stuff that I have. And it's not that much because I've done several purges in the last 2 years because we've moved 3 different times. And I had to lighten the load just because of those moves anyway. So what I do have, which are perfectly good, I really just am inspired to be using it. So I believe this is a notebook from Danica 58. It's in the standard size, it's dot grid, and I'm like 99% sure this is Cosmo Air light paper. So my journaling got real funky at the end of 2022. My last video I did was in October of 22, so things have changed so much since then. But this, I started in November. I journaled 2 days in November, 2 days in December, and then in January, I really found my groove. I finally was like accepting that this was going to be my only journal, and my journaling picked up. So I journal about every 2 to 3 days, and I just summarize things that happened during those last 2 days. I don't know, it's just working really well for me. I think not having a daily requirement has been so freeing because I don't work in either of these daily. Sometimes once I fill out the week in here, I don't have to reference this again for several days because, you know, there's something about when I'm writing things down, it just like imprints it on my brain and I can see the page in my brain. And, you know, so I just come in here when I feel like it, when I've got a little something else to add as far as tasks or when I want to cross something off, but that's not a daily thing. So in here, because it's not daily either, I feel like I have a breather. I feel like I don't have to like make time and pull this open. And that never used to be a problem. Apparently now it is. I don't know. We all go through phases, right? So it is what it is. But I don't know if you can see through this, but when I started this, it was nothing but writing. I'm just using whatever random gel pen I need to use up. And that's how I started it. It was just not fussy at all. And as I became more committed to like a one notebook journal system, I decided that I would incorporate ephemera from my life that had to do with whatever I was writing about. So, you know, my kids and I have been looking for this candy and we finally found it and tried it. So I just saved that to put in here. This was a birthday gift from my dad. And I love that I'm incorporating these things. I mean, this is not a novel idea. This is what people do all the time in this community, but I never found a great groove with this. And I think also what's happening is in the past, when I had ephemera that I wanted to put in my journal, I got really caught up with wanting to put it in at the appropriate time in my writing. And so then that would give me pause. I would always hesitate because I didn't know if I should put it in yet, or, you know, well, I have to write this first and then I can put it in. And, you know, it's just like overthinking everything. So what I do now is I will literally, most of the time, I will stick it in the next available space. And sometimes by the time I get to write about it, it's on the adjacent page or maybe the whole next page. But the point is, it's in the general vicinity where it needs to be. And I have found that that works so well for me. I don't have to be, you know, this overly obsessive person with how these things are laid out. It's there. If I flip to the previous page or the next page, I'm eventually going to find where I'm writing about that thing. So It's very, very freeing. And then the other thing, because I had so much text on a page, if I didn't have ephemera, I was trying to figure out how to sort of highlight whatever a main topic was that I was writing about. And so Crayola Supertips again, if there was something significant, I'll letter it bigger. That way when I'm flipping through this, I can have a bird's eye view of, oh, okay, like this happened here. So if I read around here, I can get more details about that. And I love doing that. I can't believe that that's something I'm able to incorporate, but I'm embracing it. And this is my favorite thing that I decided to do. At the end of the month, I wanted to do a summary of that month. So what I did here was I printed off all of the pictures that I took in January. And so this is like an overview of visually of all the memories from January. And this is so simple. I open up a Word document on my phone. I take every photo, copy it into that Word document, and you can resize it. And I print it off on just regular computer paper, copy paper, on my regular inkjet printer. And then I just cut them all out and then I glued them in here. And on the right side, this is where I decided to letter the major events or just things I wanted to remember from that month. So this is a spread for January of everything that happened. So if I don't want to flip through all the pages, I can look here and kind of get an idea of, oh, you know, this is the month we went to the ER. And then I can kind of flip through here and find that page, read more detail about it. And I'm really liking it. I have to do the February one, but the tab that I'm using, this is the Travelers Company. Do I have it here? No, I don't. But they came in the Travelers Company sticker pack. And so I didn't have any use for that. So I decided to use it for this. And let's see. Okay, so just another example of using ephemera from just our daily life. Oh yeah, so I love this restaurant. So my husband like picked this up for us like on Valentine's Day, and on the bag I cut their logo out and put it on there, and I love the way that looks, and it's so simple. You know, I'm not doing like stamping and layering and things like that. So my approach is very simple, but I still find that it's really impactful. And this helps me still prioritize the writing because capturing the memories is the main focus for my journaling anyway. So being able to put in some decor like this that supports the memories I'm capturing it's like amazing. It's perfect. I love it. So, okay. So I said that I don't have any other journals. So previously I had so many journals. I had journals to each of my kids where I wrote to them. I had like a memory keeping journal and then like a journal to summarize just the events of the day without like my feelings involved and, you know, all the things. And so this is kind of how I'm incorporating like journaling to my kids. You know, when I'm done and gone, all this stuff is going to go to my kids anyway. So memories are memories no matter where they're written. So, like if my kids say something funny or silly or just something I want to remember, and I would usually write that in their own separate journal from me to them. I just write it in here now, right? And I put the name of the kid here who said it. And so flipping through this is just, you know, it's everything in one. And I love that. I love that I only have to pick up one book and I can put everything in it. So one thing that's really cool is like, every time I see a really cool idea on Instagram or somebody else's video, and it's like, oh, I need to buy another book, you know, so I can be just like that. You know, we've all been there. I've been a victim many times. But what I tell myself is, okay, well, get your journal, open it up, and do that spread that they did. And this was something like that. Like this is a hodgepodge of like what I've seen James Luke Burke do in like his photo journal. And then I think it's like My Abiding Journal or something like that. I don't remember, because I saw it in passing. I just have videos playing all the time when I'm doing like my chores, you know, and she had a monthly overview like this, and I've seen it before from many other people, but her video in particular, at the time I watched it, really kickstarted my interest in doing this again. So, you know, so I kind of just like smushed those two ideas together and did it in here. And I love that I can just open this up, do it in here. I don't have like a rigid format that I'm trying to follow. And I think that's the other thing about having a blank notebook that has no dates or structure in it at all, is I can turn to the next page and just play with a brand new idea. And then on the next page, I can return to my long form writing and putting ephemera and that kind of thing. So I totally love this. And I mean, the reason that I decided to simplify everything is because we are anticipating a big family change for 2023. And so I preemptively simplified everything because I didn't want to be like knee deep in a whole bunch of systems and then have to change it mid-year when our life got like a little crazy. So I'm so happy with this. I love that it's not a daily thing. And I mean, this is the core of everything that I'm doing for planning, for journaling. I do have like some extra bits that I'll mention, but it's not really part of like my core system. I'll go ahead and show these. Like, yeah, so I'm not using this. You know, I had already set this up like this. I mean, I just decorated the front and this sat blank. And then there was something that was like bothering me and I decided to track some stuff for like 2 weeks. So there's 2 weeks of pages used in here, like weekly sections. But then I got to the bottom of what was bothering me and then I didn't need it anymore. So this just has randomly 2 weeks used. Oh, the Hibino. Ugh, this thing. It just so annoys me right now, but it is completely blank. I decided, because I had decided in December to simplify everything, just go back to basics, that none of this stuff got touched. I started using this system at the beginning of the year and I've just been doing this ever since. So this is empty with its like wonky paper. I'm so irritated by this planner. I just don't even know why. I never even used it, but here it is. And this stuff is just like out of sight, out of mind. I don't know what I'm ever gonna do with these things. This makes me mad too, because I really love my passport setup that I had, you know, and I got the 3 sets. This is like $60 all together for 3 of these together, $60. And they're still in the original packaging. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, I've seen a lot of videos where people were using dated things and just completely ignoring the dates, and that kind of invigorated me. Like, yeah, that's a thing. Like, why don't you just do that, Sarah? I mean, this is all like really great quality stuff, really beautiful paper, you know, minus this one. So who knows, you know, I'm whatever, we're done with that. And this I've shown in probably the last video, but I have this insert in here and it was like a collaging insert, you know, where I was using ephemera, using my stickers and my stash and everything and highlighting things. But since I've moved in to memory keeping in here this way, I haven't found a need to finish this insert yet. I'm over halfway in here. So I think whenever I finish this, I'll probably get in here and then like just finish out the last few pages with my normal type of journaling and then archive this because there's memories in here and it's ephemera for my daily life. So it's part of what this was. So I'm probably just gonna finish this out and then, you know, move on to another insert, you know, for my journaling. But this is just kind of laying in wait right now. And then this was another thing I had shown. Obviously, I've covered this little insert with the same fabric, but this is the Travelers Company monthly. And I had bought this, you know, when I bought all this mess, and this was to go in my purse, and it has, you know, I've decorated it, and I love it. I love these Travelers Company stickers, my goodness. And this was because the purse that I have is really small. It's the Portland Leather Goods toaster bag. And while my Weeks does fit in there, it's a really, really snug fit. And I chose to buy this so that I could have the bird's eye view of all of my schedule, so that when I make appointments on the go, I don't have to worry about bringing my Weeks. I'll have this and I can reference this and make appointments. And this is actually come in very, very handy. Like even in the back, like I've scribbled down when the next appointments are going to be, like when I'm scheduling with the person at the front desk, and then I'll go back in and, you know, put it in here more neatly. So this is great, but I do think it's ultimately unnecessary, because whenever I am going to any appointments, I still shove this in my purse, because I do sort of on-the-go journaling in the back's note pages here just to pass the time while I'm in the waiting room. So I'm still shoving this in, and this is already in there. So I think this is kind of obsolete, but it doesn't take up any time really. To just fill this in, because obviously I'm not decorating. It's just information, and that's it. So I'll most likely, you know, finish this out for the rest of the year, because, you know, it's no sweat off my brow. So yeah, that is everything. I'm sorry that I've been away for a while. I was trying to get all my ducks in a row. But anyway, yeah, so I'm not really going to be buying anything. So I didn't know if I should even come back and do videos, because people mostly watch my videos to see me review things. Analytically, those are the videos that do the best, is when I buy something and I talk about it. But like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to be doing just a lot of work in these systems here. And I don't know, I'm going to try to make it interesting for everybody, but at least, you know, it's something, right? So my future videos there'll be a lot more like plan with me, or just come along with me as I'm like working through these books. Yeah. So anyway, look forward to that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.